Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to an all-new reaction and review. Tonight, guys, prior to me getting into the film, I really have to give you a little bit of a history lesson. I just need to pull up my years here. Alright, in 1978, a small humor magazine called National Lampoon decided to put out a movie. The movie was called Animal House. The movie, Animal House, was a huge, huge hit. And National Lampoon's competitor, or main competitor, Mad Magazine, decided to actually try their hand at making a movie, and in 1980 they released Mad Magazine Presents Up the Academy. And well, everybody hated working on it. One of the stars had his name removed from the poster, from the opening credits, and from all promotional materials. The film did so badly that fucking Mad Magazine disowned the film and demanded that all references to the magazine be cut. And the parody in Mad Magazine for this movie ran 2 pages long, and it was basically their way of apologizing to people for putting their name on this film. Now, it is sort of sad that this movie has such a horrible history, but I'm still curious. Because, okay, yes, this fucking thing was disowned, but it still has a cult following, and when Warner Brothers purchased the rights to this film, they put all of the when they purchased the rights to Mad Magazine, they put all the references to the magazine back in the film. So hopefully the copy I have has all of the Mad references. I don't know if it does or not. So I really needed to get all of that out there because that actually is a rather interesting history, and I'm curious if this film is really as bad as a lot of people say. So, without further ado, it's time to kick back, relax, and check out Up the Academy. Well, you know, I actually just got to see what I'm going to assume are our main characters, and there isn't a single likable one in the bunch, but plus side is, you know, the song is pretty good. At least that's something. Okay. I just saw somebody with a frickin' Alfred E. Newman mask on. That looked really fucking creepy, dude. It really, really did. You know, it actually is a little bit sad that this comedy has been going for about 15 minutes. I have yet to laugh once, and the only character who is in any way likable is a fucking dog who apparently is a sergeant. That's really sad, guys. It really, truly is. So the Arab kid is bowing and praying to cans of oil. Words do not even begin to describe how horribly offensive that is. And yet, it's still the most clever thing they have churned out this entire fucking movie so far. So we now have a new character brought in just out of nowhere. I hate him more than I hate every other character in this film. Again, I didn't think that would be possible. He somehow is less likable than the other jagoffs in this film. You know, guys, I actually would like to say this again. This movie has a fantastic soundtrack. Hear that, guys? It's Blondie. I never thought I'd hear decent fucking music in this thing when I started, but hell, I mean, that actually is at least one positive. You know, I usually wait until the movie's done, but I believe I can safely say this has to be one of the stupidest fucking movies I have ever seen. And there's still a good 40 minutes left. Son of a bitch. Okay, we fucking get it. This fucking band really sucks at singing. Do we really need to see more things breaking and falling apart from their horrible, horrible singing? I swear, guys, they actually were just doing that for the last fucking minute. It was really shitty. Guys, now this actually is like the third time I've mentioned this, but this soundtrack is awesome. Cheap, it's fucking Cheap Trick, man. This is badass. I really wish that this movie was giving me more to react to besides the soundtrack, but it's not. Alrighty, and that is Mad Magazine presents Up the Academy. And apparently the closing credits are just the opening credits played in reverse. You know, that actually is somewhat, clever. And that is almost stunningly clever since, well, the bullshit I just watched, you wouldn't expect something like this. Anyway, let's just shut off the movie. It's time to discuss. First of all, I'm going to start by beating this fucking horse again. The music in this movie is great. There has to be a website somewhere which has the song track listing for this movie. And guys, I would highly recommend you go out and you find those friggin' songs, because I could not find a single bad song on the soundtrack. The fact that the biggest positive I can think of is the soundtrack, that's sad. Because this thing is not a musical, it's not a fucking opera. Music is probably like one of the last things you should be worrying about. But let's cover the biggest problem, the writing. Oh god, damn it all, the writing. The writing is shallow, the writing is horrible, there's absolutely no depth to any of these characters. I'm going to give you guys a quick little summary. When you happen to see a character and you notice their skin color or their nationality or their sexual preference, you just figured out the entire character. All right, you happen to have a character who is gay, and he's like flamingly gay. And he is just so flaming that it actually borders on offensive. We have one kid who is a Middle Eastern kid. He is a thief. He is the son of a sheik. At least it looked like he was like the son of a sheik. And he prays to cans of motor oil. He also sleeps with a can of motor oil too. Again, playing up to just pretty much all of the stereotypes you could think of. You know, it's like nobody actually is just a lesbian. No, they are the most butch lesbians you will ever see. You aren't just a homosexual guy. You are as flaming as possible. You aren't just a black character. No, you have to play up a black character who hates fucking whiteys and all this other crap. It's horrible. The writing is just so shallow. The fucking story makes. Actually, no. Now, the story actually makes a little bit of sense. The problem is that the story is too fucking shallow. There's nothing there. There is absolutely nothing to speak of when it comes to the story. Things just happen, and there's absolutely no rhyme or reason for any of it. Now, you would almost think that with me, harping on how horrible the writing was, you would think I would complain about the acting, but I can't. I can't, because the acting was actually solid. The acting was good, it's just that you have to look at what they were forced to work with. They pretty much made the best of a bad situation, and it still didn't help much. It's just. So I seriously am not. I am not going to rail against the actors because, well, hell, because when you happen to hand somebody a turd and you tell them to polish it, you really can't expect something beautiful out of it. You know what I mean? So yeah, the acting actually was good. It's just that the script wasn't there to hold up the halfway decent acting. Oh man. Otherwise, now Everything else is just your typical fare because, after all, this was shockingly a big studio film. This thing was made by Warner Brothers, and so it actually has a fairly decent, or correction, it has fairly decent lighting. It has fairly decent camera work. I would happen to say that there are a couple of scenes where they opt to use stock footage, but that stock footage is so horrible. It is just so grainy. It is just so out of place. It really takes you out of the film. Oh, and one other thing when it comes to the writing, and this has to do with the humor. It is some of the most base humor you will ever find. I mean, okay, the very first gag you see, besides honestly seeing somebody with a fucking Alfred E. Newman mask, is an old guy farting. And that is his entire joke, is that this guy, he is the commandant. He farts. That's all he does. That is his entire gimmick. He farts and he talks about his days as a soldier. That's it. He has no other depth beyond that. So yes, they are constantly dipping into fart jokes on top of the racist and sexist humor which just permeates this entire film. And now, after finally viewing it, I can understand why the people over at Mad Magazine disowned this fucking thing. It was horrible. It was terrible. I was really hoping for something that might have had like a glimmer of hope, but no. It just completely kneecapped itself within a couple of minutes. And the rest of it is just watching the tired, agonizing suffering of a sick animal as you just hope and pray for it to fucking die. And it took 90 minutes for the fucking thing to finally die. It's really sad. That is probably the most tired analogy I have ever used for anything here, but I don't care. This, oh God, I really hoped for the best with this thing. Now, if there's any of you out there who think it might be cute to try to find this movie and watch it, do me a favor. Don't. Just don't. Yes, you can find this thing on fucking Amazon, and you can find it on eBay. You can probably BitTorrent it somewhere, but I'm gonna tell you right now, you can totally save the headache. Just don't fucking bother. There's really no reason to watch this thing. Again, just look up the soundtrack and download those songs. You will thank me later. Oh boy. And with that, folks, we come to the close of another reaction and review. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, take care, and I will see you all in the near future. Peace.